Hey, how's it going? This is Joe and Tell. Today, we're going to be taking a look at 100 of the most common audiophile terms that you hear. We have Aaron from Aaron's Audio Corner. Thanks for being on here and helping me out with this. We have about 100 on here, so let's go through them kind of just quickly. And if, if there's some that you want to take a little bit more time on, then we can do that. Sound good?
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, man. Sounds good.
All right. So first, we have this one here. Transparent.
Transparent.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. What do you think about it? Have you heard when people, this is it's transparent. To me, transparent just means that it's not changing the sound.
Yeah, I would think that's what it means. Now, I feel like when people talk about that and use the word transparent, I feel like they give it more of an ethereal meaning. And to me, to me, it's just it's black and white. It's a transparent sound. It doesn't add coloration to it, or you don't feel like it does. But I feel like when some reviewers use it, they use it to mean something more, and I don't know what they mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just kind of get that feel.
Well, I guess if something's transparent, you shouldn't even notice that it's there if it's truly transparent.
Yeah, right.
So here's the next one, musical.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I understand. I guess that means that makes them want to dance and boogie or something, but that's the music, right? I mean, speakers should be musical. The content should be musical is what I think.
Agree 100%. I think this is one of those BS terms that I don't really like. When somebody says it, it means nothing to me.
Doesn't mean a thing to me, yeah.
How about natural?
That means just neutral to me. Doesn't take or give away from what's on the recording.
Agree. All right. So how about clinical?
Well, hold on. Actually, let me go back to natural real fast.
Okay.
So I feel like that's kind of another one of those where sometimes reviewers use it to mean live. If I'm listening to a recording and it sounds natural as if the person was there talking to me. And that's something that bothers me because you should never have a recording that is supposed to sound live unless it is supposed to sound live on the recording. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm listening to a lady singing in her closet, it's supposed to sound like she's singing in her closet if it was recorded that way. But if the engineer mastered it in a way that it sounds all sorts of other ways, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
basically the in doesn't equal the out. So natural to me, sometimes when I read it, I think reviewers make it sound like more than it really is.
All right. So how about this one? Clinical.
Okay. Clinical.
Have you heard that
dry,
one?
I've heard clinical and dry always used together as a pair. And to me, I usually take that to mean like it's lacking some high-end detail, maybe.
But I kind of take it as almost the opposite of when people say musical. So I think when they say musical, okay, they're enjoying it. Versus clinical or sometimes analytical, I say kind of go together. Where it feels like you're in a doctor's office, right? There's no vibe, right? Cold, no vibe. Yeah. Something like that. I think that's what they mean. How about bright?
To me, that just implies a high-frequency treble boost, But what frequency is it? Is it 4K and up? Is it 8K and up? That's the thing. It's like,
okay, how about this? Let's kind of help define it if we can. What would you say is bright?
Usually when I think of bright, I'm thinking of like 8K and up, 8 kilohertz and up. Something that adds a little bit of the air, but it doesn't make you cringe. Because to me, like the cringe-worthy stuff is like the 2 and the 4 kilohertz. If there's too much 2 and 4K, that's the stuff that makes you go, oof.
Yeah, and I think you have there's some scientific backing to the reason why you chose 2 to 4K, right? And I think we can get into that a little bit more when we get into. I think we have some harsh ones down here. Okay. How about this? Laid back.
Laid back. To me, that could mean a roll off top end, or that could mean a mellow mid range. So
could be either.
I think it would depend on how the context framed around that phrase.
Okay, well, let's just say one of those things, either mid-range, like vocal mid-range, or top end, treble, is recessed.
Recessed, yeah. Same thing. I feel like laid back and recessed are probably interchangeable.
Yeah, you know what? I guess, I haven't heard it used for bass, but I guess bass could also be recessed.
I guess it could be, yeah. Usually people just say there's not any bass.
There's none. It's just lacking.
And that's actually a lot more helpful than recessed,
All right. So I would say just maybe a dip somewhere in the frequency response, or it could be a dip if it's in the middle, or it could be where it starts to fall off.
Right.
All right. How about forward?
To me, forward usually is in the 1 to 2 kilohertz range, where there's a bump in the presence region, and it makes it sound like the sound stage is kind of coming at you a little bit more, and kind of has a little bit of that bite to it.
And would that be referring more to maybe the vocals?
It could be, yeah, the upper mid range of the vocals, yeah. But then like snare, like harmonics of different instruments too, can have that as well.
All
So
right. Well, we're just trying to figure this stuff out because this is not
yeah,
really well defined. So if somebody has a different opinion, leave them in the comments and let us know what you think these
absolutely.
things mean.
Well, and I think this goes to prove the point that different people have different meanings. I mean, you and I both review speakers, and we both, kind of lean toward the objective side. And even having this conversation, we are kind of like, well, I think it means this, but I think it means this.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I definitely lean more towards objective, but I try to understand the subjective so I can kind of bridge the gap.
right.
I'm trying. So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing here. How about air?
Air to me is 10K and above.
Air.
And it just adds almost like if you took 10K and you boosted it, you just get a bunch of static. That's what I think of when I think of the term air. It adds something to the sound stage, makes it seem larger than life, and usually in tonality, that's 10K and above. But in sound stage, if you have a speaker that has a wide radiation pattern above 10 kilohertz out to 20 kilohertz, then it could mean that as well.
So how do you determine what's air and what is presence? I
Yeah.
guess those are very different regions depending on where you're looking. I think REW has
Right.
presence as one of the sections up there.
Yeah. Yeah, it might. I need to go back and look. Well, and for what it's worth, there used to be a website. Joe, if I can find it, I will send it to you, and you can throw it in the description
Sure.
below. And but there used to be a really good website, the interactive EQ website. You've probably seen it. It's crazy dark background. You can go through and you can like select a bar, and it tells you the notes, the actual notes and the instrumentation that would be playing those frequencies, and it tells you, too much of this equals this. So too much 120 hertz equals, a harmonic of a kick drum or something like that. But it goes through and gives you a better description too.
It's important to be able to read a frequency response graph because then you can be a little bit more specific, right? So
Right.
when you say a specific number, then that's just what it is, right? It's the same for you
Exactly.
as it is for
Yeah.
me.
Exactly. Yep.
How about this? Off axis. I hear you talk a lot about off axis response. What does that mean?
That means, so normally you're sitting directly in front of a speaker and it's aimed directly toward you. So you're looking right at it. So if you have a speaker from the side going this way, and then you take the speaker and turn it directly toward you, you are on axis. Anything to the side of that speaker turning away is off axis. So you can be 0 degrees is on axis, and then anything else is off axis. So 180 degrees where you're behind the speaker, that's off axis, way behind the speaker.
Oh, question. What is, I mean, I don't think people would say 1 degree is off axis. So what is where
What's
does
the
off
breaking
axis
point,
start?
right? I typically just say 10 degrees because, how precise are you? Most people aren't breaking out their laser levels and things like that. So
Like you are.
like I am. Yeah. Yeah.
Depth.
Yes.
It's a good one.
Soundstage depth. Yeah. So in terms of frequency from my car audio days, a lot of people would say if you want to add depth to the soundstage, you cut 5 kilohertz. I don't know if that's really true or not, or if we just believe that because somebody told us that. But soundstage and depth, or depth is always to me a soundstage characteristic, not necessarily a tonality characteristic.
And what does that mean? Just that there's a z-axis or there's a three-dimensional.
Going in front of you and behind you.
Okay.
You've got a sound. But then there's in car audio they actually came up with depth to stage, and then they have depth of stage. So depth to stage would be the distance from you to the front of the sound stage, and the depth of stage would be the distance of at the front of the sound stage to the back of the sound stage.
All right.
So, yeah,
I'm wondering how much of that is in the recording also. So tricky.
yeah, that's very recording dependent.